Have you ever looked at one of your old backdrops and thought, it's still nice, but it could be so much more? Well, in this video, I'm going to take this giant 3D arch backdrop I built a while ago and completely transform it into something new. Right now, it's just a regular 3D arch. It's been painted a few times over the years, it's 8 feet tall and 4.5 feet wide, but it's time for an upgrade. For those who don't know, I build custom backdrops and props for events. Things you simply cannot buy at a store. Weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, if someone needs it, I make it. And today, this plain arch is about to become a bookshelf-style backdrop. The plan is simple. I'm going to add 4 floating shelves inside this arch. Sounds easy, right? But the trick is making it look clean, professional, sturdy enough to actually use it at the event, and all of the shelves must be removable. Step 1 is measuring the inside of the arch to figure out the exact length of the shelves. Then I will cut off these back support pieces. Normally I add those supports so you can put sandbags and keep the arch stable. But since this piece will be standing flush against the wall, those support pieces aren't needed anymore. Cutting them off is quick. I'll use my track saw, although you could do it with a router and flash trim bit. Once that's done, I will have a flat back that can sit tight against the wall. Now it's time to build the shelves. I want them to look thick, to be exact 2 inches thick. To build the shelves, I'm gonna use 3/4 inch birch plywood. First, I'll cut 4 boards at 12 inches wide. That's gonna be exact thickness of the arch itself. Then I'll cut 4 strips at 2 inches wide for the front faces of the shelves. Next comes the detail that makes these shelves look clean, cutting everything at 45-degree angle, so the boards meet flush. That creates the thick, solid look without actually being heavy. Don't worry if you don't have a table saw. There are other ways to do this, and I'll show you in just a second. The top shelf will be built a little differently from the 3 lower ones, since it's more visible. But that's the cool thing about building event decor. You can get creative. Unlike furniture, which has to be absolutely perfect, props like these give you some freedom. As long as the front looks good, nobody really cares about the back. So let's start with those 45-degree cuts. I'm using my table saw and an angle finder to lock the blade in exactly 45 degrees. Then I cut each board so they fit together seamlessly like this. After cutting all the boards, I move on to the smaller strips. 3 of them only need a 45-degree cut on one side, but one piece gets 45-degree cut on both sides. You will see why that's important in just a second. Here is how the shelves come together. 3 of them are essentially faux shelves, fake shelves. They won't have a bottom panel, so the underside isn't pretty. But that doesn't matter because nobody will ever see it once it's installed. Maybe some kids, but kids don't care. The top shelf, on the other hand, will be fully finished with both a top and bottom piece. Since that one is visible, I want it to look like a real floating shelf. When everything is lined up, the joints look clean and flush. And even though all of this is going to be painted, I still like making it neat. But let me pause here. If you are a beginner or don't have a table saw, you can skip this 45-degree cut. There is an easy way. You can just butt joint all of those pieces together, from the side or from the bottom. Add some wood filler, sand it smooth, and once it's painted, you will never notice the difference. It's still gonna look great. Because this build is not a furniture grade, I don't overcomplicate this. You have probably seen some people assemble floating shelves by taping all of the sides together with painter's tape, adding glue and then folding it into shape. That's a nice method, and it's actually a really nice method, but I don't bother with it here. This isn't fine furniture, it's an event decor piece. It only needs to look good for a few hours, then it gets stored away or repainted for the next event. So for me, speed matters more than perfection. To keep everything steady while I attach the front face of each shelf, I clamp or prop it against simple holders on my workbench. And then I add wood glue, line it up, and secure quickly with the brad nails. Once the 3 bottom shelves are done, I move on to the top one. As I mentioned before, this one needs to look like a true floating shelves. So I give it a bottom and a top panel. To make sure everything stays aligned, I add a few small support blocks inside before gluing and nailing it together. That keeps it square and makes assembly fast. Because I use brad nails, I have a lot of tiny nail holes showing. If this were a real piece of furniture, I would probably avoid nails altogether and rely on glue or at least use a fewer nails and then carefully fill the holes with high quality wood filler to match the color of the wood. But since these shelves are for an arch backdrop that's going to be painted, it really doesn't matter. I'll just fill the holes with whatever filler I have on hands, sand it down, and once it's painted, no one will ever know the difference. During this process, I got a little interruption. It's a delivery time. Not for me this time though. My wife ordered a hotel-style luggage cart for her photography studio. She's using it for Christmas mini sessions. And by the way, this arch I'm upgrading here, it's also going to her studio as part of a new backdrop setup. Okay, back to the build. Now that the shelves are ready, I need to figure out a way to attach them to the arch. I'm gonna keep it super simple. No complicated joinery, no fancy brackets, just 3 thin strips of 3/4 inch plywood on each side of the shelf. That's it. Here is how it works. I glue and nail the strips directly onto the arch. 4 on one side and 4 on the other side. The bottom 3 shelves just sit on top of those support pieces. The top shelf is a little different. It slides in from the sides, since it's built with a closed bottom. Before attaching anything, I measured everything carefully so each piece lines up perfectly. That's way when the shelves go in, they are snug, flush, and no gaps are visible. Now let's test it. Shelf 1 fits perfectly, shelves 2 nice and snug, shelf 3 clean and flush. And finally, the top shelf slides in tight. Even a little bit too tight. It went a little harder, but that's only because I built it super precise. And that's exactly what you want. It means no wobbles, no gaps, just clean finish. One of the coolest features of this arch that it's completely collapsible. You can break it down, load it into van or a small truck and move it from event to event. That's the main reason I built so many of my backdrops this way. Decorators can actually transport them without needing a giant box truck, which is perfect for beginners that using a regular vehicle for their business. And since all of those shelves are removable, it's easy to set up, tear down and reuse it at a different location. For us, this one will stay put in my wife's photography studio for now, but knowing it can move easily is a big bonus. Here is the view from the back. You will notice all the cutouts and holes. Those are intentional. They reduce weight and also give you handholds for carrying the arch. Again, not furniture, but built smart for events. Even though I'm turning this arch into something that looks like a bookshelf, it's still event decor piece. It only needs to look great in photos and at events, not hold up for years in someone's living room. Once the shelves are in place, the next step is sanding everything smooth and getting it ready for paint. Since this piece is going into white room, I'm painting the entire backdrop white. For the finish, I'm using a spray gun setup. My turbine is from Earlex, but the original spray gun I had broke down, and instead of buying a whole new system, I found this brand Titan that works perfectly with the Earlex turbine. It was a quick swap and it's super easy to use, even if you never sprayed before. I'm no professional painter and I'm probably doing a lot of things wrong, but this setup works great for me. But different people prefer different things. Someone likes to spray and someone likes to roll. For paint, I'm just using a regular interior grade pure white paint. Got it from Home Depot. Normally I would start with primer and then cover it with paint, but since I did a really good sanding job on this arch, I'm skipping the primer and going straight to 2 coats of paint. Here is the thing though, even after painting you will still see seams where the arch connects. That's just the reality of collapsible backdrops. If it comes apart for transport, seams are unavoidable, and I don't like it. But stick around until the end, because I'll show you a super easy trick that makes those seams practically disappear. Since I don't have a dedicated paint booth, I'm spraying right here in my garage. What saves me is this zip wall system. It's a temporary paint booth that sets up in about 30 minutes and breaks down just as fast. It keeps the dust and overspray contained, so my shop stays clean. I will drop a link to this zip wall under this video, along with links to everything else I'm using here. And here is a little behind the scenes moment. My wife is unboxing that fancy hotel luggage cart for her photography studio. Beautiful piece. Now here is the finished arch, painted and assembled. Look at those shelves. They slide in easy, it's quick to set up and just as easy to break down. The whole thing is sturdy and reusable. Yes, you can still see the seams, but the shelves pretty much perfect. Almost furniture grade, but not quite. And that's okay. It's a decor, not furniture. If you are a professional furniture building watching this, feel free to drop tips in the comments. I'm always learning and trying to improve, and I'm sure I'm doing a lot of things wrong here. Would you have done anything different with these shelves? Let me know, I would love to hear your approach. Now let's talk about those seams. Collapsible backdrops will always have them. It's just a part of the design. But here is an easy solution. Once the backdrop is set up at event, cover the seams with painter's tape in a color close to your paint. Then roll right over it. Up close you will still notice them, but from a few steps back, and especially once the full event decor is in place, the seams blend in and disappear. It's a quick temporary fix that works perfectly for event setup. If you repaint your backdrop for a different events anyway, this is a trick you will use every time. And that's it, my plain 3D arch backdrop is now upgraded into a clean bookshelf style piece ready for events or studio use in my case. By the way, if you are interested in learning how to build professional event decor like arches, backdrops, cards and more, I have a full step-by-step courses linked in the description. They go much deeper than I can in a single video. And they are designed for beginners and decorators who want to add custom props to their business. So if you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button for more builds. Check out the courses below if you want to dive deeper, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!